Hi, church. It's another late night, and I didn't want to get out of bed, and the Spirit kept nagging me to talk about mindset from the Sermon of the Mount. When Jesus preached to the disciples and to the people, he gave them a different way of thinking, a way against their culture, in fact, a way against Judaism. And the chapters are listed in Matthew 5, 6, and 7. And I was thinking about mindset because today my husband and I were again on the verge of separation. He's a stroke survivor, and sometimes he's had frontal lobe damage that affects his moods. And sometimes it's really hard and there's not really any support. So we're learning to lean on God and go to prayer a lot in God's word. So I picked up my husband. I'd left the house and I took him to Bobo for some tea. And I thought, get it out of our environment. Number one, good stress management strategy. And then number two, I asked him, would you like to hear what Jesus says? So ultimately, I read him the scriptures about how we should be towards one another. And the bottom line is, Jesus went to the cross to forgive. In fact, his mindset was he was going to forgive us before he was even hung on that cross. Why? Because he was committed and convinced that he was going to do his Father's will no matter how much pain he was going to suffer for something he hadn't even done wrong. See, he was perfect, we're not. And so the bottom line is, my husband and I left with the peace and presence of Jesus Christ, and we forgave each other because there is no other solution for us. If we don't forgive, we won't be forgiven. We've all hurt someone, and we've all sinned against God, and we've all been separated from God, and it's because of the love and sacrifice of his son Jesus Christ why we have forgiveness, or a chance at it, if we choose him to live by him. So Jesus was talking to the people in Matthew 5, and he said, you have heard that it was said, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, but I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go 2 miles with him. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. And on down further, he said, you heard that it was said. Notice it didn't say God said this. He said, you heard it was said. That was their culture. That was Judaism. To love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say, pray for your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you, and love them. Because Jesus Christ loved us, and we were all God's enemies at one time. But by the blood and sacrifice of Jesus, when we choose him and live for him, we have that forgiveness. So today, have a mindset of forgiveness.